Hello, we are ECOFS, and today we are going to present our product, Smog Buster. This is our table of contents. So first, we'll start with air pollution in Vietnam. Then we'll talk about how we will use the ground coffee. Then we'll go into the details of our product, then the pricing of our product, and then we'll conclude with how our product can affect the environment positively. Vietnam is one of the fastest growing economies in Asia, and the diagram below shows the Vietnam's recent GDP growth, and it has been constantly growing from $22 billion to around $175 billion recently. This diagram perfectly illustrates Vietnam's economic growth. When talking about growth, we often associate it with the idea of industrialization and poses a serious environmental problems currently faced by Vietnam, which is air pollution. Factories, transportation, and coal usage are main contributors to air pollution. Air pollution continues to rise at an alarming rate and affects economies and people's quality of life. We believe that air pollution in Vietnam is largely derived from transportation, especially motorbikes. According to an environmental expert at Vietnam National University in Ho Chi Minh City, he has claimed that the motorbikes and other transportation are contributed to 99% of the city's carbon dioxide emissions. He is also concerned about air pollution from exhaust and tire dust. Thus, Vietnamese consumers have not acquired the habit of frequently upgrading their bikes to new models, meaning that the streets are full of exhaust spewing two-wheelers. There is also little room for environmentally friendly electrics or hybrid to cycle into the market. To resolve this huge issue in Vietnam, we would like to introduce our product that will be focused on motorbikes' carbon emission reduction. The World Health Organization has released an article a few years ago that states that more than 60,000 deaths in Vietnam each year is linked to air pollution. Exposure to air pollution can lead to stroke, heart disease, and lung cancer, which all poses a real-life threat and should not be a problem that is overlooked, especially in Vietnam, due to the large existence of motorbikes.
As you might know, China is famous for its large amounts of fine dust drifting around the country to the extent that it impedes people's eyesight on what is in front of them. In tackling this problem, they built a 100-meter air purifier that traps these harmful chemicals inside the air pollution. Although it has very successful at mitigating the problem, it poses threats to sustainable development such as its cost and detrimental impact on the environment. In consideration of this project, we would like to suggest a product that is environmentally friendly, less costly, easily accessible, and sustainable, which will be able to prevent the need to build such purifiers. But before we do that, we would like to first explain the one major component of our product, ground coffee. Coffee is a booming industry in Vietnam, evidenced through the arrival of Starbucks in regions such as Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi. However, people usually discard the grounds left behind after it is brewed, otherwise known as ground coffee. And through extensive research, we have found that ground coffee is able to trap harmful chemicals such as carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxide, and hydrocarbons. And so, using this information, we are going to explain our product that will help solve the problem using ground coffee. This slide represents the key goals we aim to accomplish. We see the phrase pollution prevention along with an image of a tree. Through this commitment to protecting the environment by reducing pollution, promoting sustainability, and making eco-friendly choices. To begin with, our project, there is a trapper. After harmful chemicals such as carbon monoxide enters the trapper, they are instantly captured and trapped by the ground coffee or filter power. These filters remove the terpenes and substances that raise homocysteine levels. The ground coffee will purify carbon monoxide and chlorines into oxygen and nitrogen, leading to the next component of this device.
Okay, the next main component is the linker. This part links the heat wrapper and the trapper together to prevent them from disconnecting. The linker plays a major role in this device since if the heat wrapper and the trapper gets disconnected, the harmful chemical that is not fully purified will get released, which is not the purpose of this device. The next main component will be the heat wrapper. So now this is the heat wrapper. The heat wrapper traps the heat that comes out from the trapper and contracts its size, preventing the poisonous gas from leaking out. The difference with the heat wrapper and the linker is that the heat wrapper contracts the heat and the chemical that comes out from the motorcycle, which reduces the harm if the chemical gets leaked out. In addition, it will provide an additional support to make sure to keep the coffee filter to stay in contact with the linker that is linked with the trapper. And this is our final product. First, there will be an exhaust fan comes in, the heat wrapper, the connector, and then the trapper. So it will go through the arrow direction. Now, as for the expected price for our product, here is a data table that illustrates the expected cost. So aluminium will be $2.55 for 150 grams. The fabric filter will be $0.65 per 25 centimeters squared. The ground coffee will be free. The heat wrapper will be $0.87 for each heat wrapper. And our total cost will be expected to be around $4.07, which is really cheap. The price of ground coffee is expected to be free because both are just waste that we can easily obtain without having to pay extra money. And so the Vietnamese government is seeking to spend about $11.3 million on investment to reduce air pollution, with our product being $4.07. And with Vietnam's total bike amount of about 17 million, through simple math, we are estimated to spend about $285 million to replace the entire motorbike registered in Vietnam. Okay, considering the expected price that the Vietnamese government is willing to spend to reduce air pollution, it is clear that it is impossible to replace all the motorbikes in Vietnam. However, if we focus on places with a high number of motorbikes, such as Hanoi or Ho Chi Minh, and replace those first, it will be way more efficient in solving the air pollution problem.
Okay, now we're going to discuss about predicted outcomes, which is mostly like our goals for this kind of product. So first goal is to enhance air quality. So while motorbikes in Vietnam generally produce lower carbon dioxide emissions compared to cars, they release significantly higher levels of pollutants, such as nitrogen oxides and hydrocarbons. As a dominant mode of transportation in densely populated urban areas, motorbikes are a major contributor to air pollution. Reducing their emissions would lead to cleaner air and a substantial decrease in harmful pollutants like nitrogen oxides and particulate matter. Consequently, this improvement in air quality would enhance public respiratory health and mitigate pollution-related illnesses. Second goal is climate change mitigation. Motorbikes contribute to greenhouse gas emissions, exacerbating climate change through their carbon output. By curbing these emissions, Vietnam can play a vital role in global climate action, aligning itself with international sustainability goals while reducing its national carbon footprint. A commitment to lowering emissions not only benefits the environment, but also reinforces Vietnam's dedication to a greener, more sustainable future. Third is energy efficiency. Lower carbon emissions are often synonymous with greater energy efficiency. Encouraging the use of fuel-efficient motorbikes or promoting sustainable transportation, alternatives can significantly reduce fuel consumption and ease energy demands. This shift would yield environmental benefits while also driving economic advantages, fostering a more energy-conscious and resource-efficient society. Now, next, we're going to discuss about SDG goals. There are 5 SDG goals that we're going to discuss about. First, good health and well-being, sustainable cities and communities, climate action, life on land, and partnerships for the goals. For SDG 3, since air pollution has a detrimental impact on human health, leading to respiratory diseases, allergies, cardiovascular problems, and other health issues. So by purifying the air, we can reduce the exposure to harmful pollutants and improve public health outcomes. And SDG 11, air pollution, is currently a significant problem in urban areas, especially in Vietnam, where high population densities and industrial activities contribute to poor air quality. By addressing air pollution, we can create cleaner and healthier cities, improving the quality of life for urban dwellers. Lastly, our product merges 2 of Vietnam's most ubiquitous and influential staples, motorcycles and coffee. If we aim to reduce chemical emissions, why not do so in a way that maximizes efficiency while utilizing readily available resources? Innovation by definition is the process of transforming the familiar through new methods, ideas, or products. Motorcycles and coffee are at the heart of Vietnam's economic and cultural landscape, making them the ideal foundation of groundbreaking change. So why not harness the strength of these industries to drive a sustainable revolution? By reimagining what is already deeply embedded in our society, we can pave the way for a cleaner, more sustainable future, one that benefits both present and future generations. Change starts here with innovation rooted in Vietnam's strongest industry. Thank you.